We're back again. Hello, everyone.
Hi everyone, how you doing?
Linda and I are going to talk about the current state of affairs. And as we predicted last time, we said a number of things, but we said that just watch, in the next week, a lot of new things will happen. And sure enough, there are all these different things that have happened since then, including yesterday's, uh, you know, Kamala on Fox, which was, fascinating for a number of
She
different
showed her
reasons.
strength. She showed her strength.
She did, and I think overall it's going to help her because they're not. You go on there, they try to pin all the problems, on the Democrats and her, but yeah, she was showing her strength, and I thought that the highlight was when near the end she got angry, and kind of said like, "What kind of person?" Whenever you criticize the guy and he starts to threaten to put you in jail. I mean, what kind of person does that? Which is true, right? I thought the one opportunity she missed, which, and maybe this wouldn't be correct, but they say that she prepares a lot, but I wish she'd have this ready as a kind of a response and say, okay, let me ask you a question. So, if America thought that his immigration plan was so good, the way he was doing his thing, putting children in cages and all that stuff and pretending to build walls, why did they vote him out in 2020?
There
Why?
you go.
Right? Okay, but oh no, I know the answer. You're going to say, well, he said he never lost. Well, guess what? He did lose. Okay,
He did
and
lose.
that was the answer to your question. And then the other thing I think she did really well. She tried to say, we've been trying to work on this, but you guys don't want to cooperate. And when we get a really good plan, your orange, abomination says, no, 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 let's not use that. I need to run on the problem. I don't want to solve the problem, right? So that's what's happening. But he was really quite, intense. But what I thought was funny? Drudge, he's actually a Republican, the Drudge Report.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Trump at all, right? So the image says, it's the two of them debating, and it says, cat eats fox.
Oh, that's
I
fantastic.
thought that was hilarious.
I saw something too where he was standing there swaying for 30 minutes at that thing, and Governor Nome was there, and a couple of people passed out, and you could hear them yelling, turn the air on, because I guess they were suffocating.
Yeah, yeah, no, I
And
mean,
Trump's just like, and so there people are yelling, and two people passed out, and someone said, good thing Nome didn't have her gun on her. She'd probably shoot them, put them out of their misery.
he should have asked, are there any dogs here?
Yeah, she's such a meanie.
I know. It's really something. The other thing, I don't know if you noticed this, but I was, we were tuning in about a week ago, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, and the polling seemed to be showing her leading, and then it's still tight, but leads everywhere. All of a sudden, this message gets out that, oh no, now he's leading. And
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. He
I
pays
know
all
because I
for.
thought I thought, well, this doesn't make any sense. And then it turns out, now again, it depends who you listen to, right?
Yeah,
But I would encourage people, go listen to Midas Touch. There's a video where they're explaining that just like in 22, they flood the zone with questionable polls, and then all of a sudden it looks like they're doing better. Remember in 22 they were saying, oh, there's a red wave coming, there's a red wave coming.
yeah,
And then now in 22, Trump wasn't running, so then they just lose and then they complain. This time I think it's a setup because if you think about it, they want people to think they're winning, their people, and then when they lose, then they can say, well, obviously someone is cheating because the polls were saying that we were winning. That's, I
yeah,
think, what
that's
the
what he's
plan
doing.
is.
It's all a fraud.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Okay.
out of his mind, by the way. He's absolutely out of it. Did you see that little town hall he had where he's talking? And that one guy said, look, I'm a registered Republican, but I can't vote for you based on January 6th and based on blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, that was a loving gathering.
It was a day of love.
It was a day, the only person killed was by the intel in the Capitol. They shot that woman like just like she wasn't doing anything wrong, even though she broke a window, was up on the ledge trying to jump in.
I know. I mean, what amazes me is
But
how
everybody was like this. Did you
like
see?
this. Yeah, like the thing is though, in what universe? Explain to me in what universe it's okay for someone to incite a mob to rush the capital, the seat of government, threaten to kill the VP and defecate on the walls. What country is that when you allow something like that to happen? I don't get these people. Now they're saying nothing happened. We have the
Yeah,
video.
and I didn't ask them. I asked them to march peacefully. He didn't say that.
No, he said march peacefully, and he said at the same time you have to fight like hell, right?
Fight like hell, and I'll be right with you. I will go with you.
And what of course they probably didn't let the guy. I didn't see the whole thing, but my response to that would have been, okay, why did you spend 3 hours staring at the TV? Why didn't you just stop it?
I think he did mention that.
Well, I mean, because if you're being peaceful, what are you doing? Staring at the
People
TV.
were begging him. McCarthy was calling him. Kevin McCarthy was saying, what are you doing? Stop it.
All of them, yeah. But I mean, even he knows you're on record 180 minutes. Is that false? Is that not true? Is that not, that's, by the way, what Jack Smith is going to present. He's going to present that. And by the way, when you present that in a DC case with a DC jury, good luck with that. Because you know what? They're not in the mood. Like, remember the 1940s? People were charged with sedition and they couldn't convict anybody, but people have gone down for sedition this time around. This time around, they're not in the mood for that. For good reason. I mean, it's on TV, we all saw it. You can't pretend it didn't happen.
Peaceful. And they defecated on everything and smeared the walls. I mean, what is that?
It's
the animals is what it is.
Exactly. It's horrific. And no country, he's always talking about the country's going to hell. It's all falling apart. Listen, Donald, no country can work if you allow that kind of nonsense. If you allow someone like you to do what you did. By the way, not to mention, and in the background, you're doing all this paperwork with fake elector schemes. What are you talking? I mean, how is that allowed? It's not. The answer is it's not. That's why you're being charged. That's the whole point. Okay, plain and simple.
So, what is Kamala, since we're talking about her? How's her chart looking? Could you tell she was going to be pretty powerful?
Oh, yeah. No, her chart, the thing is they both have Jupiter, which is really good, but hers is better because it's cleaner. It's near the ascendant degrees. In his case, it's mixed up in an opposition. So that is way more likely to knock you back because you pursue ways of doing things that are overconfident and basically wrong. It doesn't work out as well, right? And that's what's going on. So yeah, no, absolutely. And the other thing with her is, I mentioned it in a recent video, she has gone through lots of Saturn pressure since July, and she's done well. She's done well with it. It's just the pressure of running for president, right? And to me, that's a great message because it means, that she's in good shape.
Oh, listen, she knew she had her boots on with that Fox News. That guy tried to overtalk her, but she said, let me tell you something right now. I'm not representing Biden's administration. It's going to be my administration.
Of course.
But she's because Biden did this. Not that she's saying she doesn't approve of Biden's. I think she's very proud of what the work they've done. But she's like, just like what she told Netanyahu, I was just telling you about, because that bigwig died. Netanyahu, I'm listening to the book Fire by Bob Woodward. And he said that Netanyahu went in behind closed doors to have a meeting with her when he was there and he met with the president. And he said he thought it was a nice meeting. And when he leaves, she announced to the press, he needs to get out of Gaza. And he was shocked and furious at her. And then he ran to Trump.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, Kamala, the thing with Kamala that's most obvious to me is how she's been totally underestimated, in the way she's able to defend herself. And I can explain it astrologically because the year that she went through while she was VP, there was a big transformation happening, which doesn't always happen, just because you're VP. But for her, something very deep was happening where she became more and more empowered. And so now she's a lot more confident and she can represent herself better and, she's ready for the presidency. It's that simple.
You told me that's one of the reasons I just adore your charts, etc. You told all of us years ago, was it about 2 years ago? You said, look at his chart. He's getting ready to flounder. He's getting away with everything. It slides right off of him. And you named the months beginning this month, I don't remember what month it was, and you said, yeah, he's getting ready to get his just desserts.
March of 23. I remember that. And
Was
then,
that it? Okay.
well, and then there was another bump, huge bump in August of 23 because that was another turning point. And now he's on, you know, it's that sign. That sign is very unfriendly to him. And it has.
He can't believe it. He can't believe that he can't just smooch things over and double talk and do all that wave stuff he likes to do.
Well, you know, it's how things work. I mean, at a certain point, when you behave the way he behaves, you run into a brick wall. You run into problems, right? And you know, remember that we were talking weeks and weeks ago when the Biden left the race, and Kamala comes in. But you know, history will show that he was instrumental in bringing her into the picture, because not that he said. By the way, his debate, if that debate in the end of June is with Kamala would have done the same thing that she did to him during the debate they had, because Kamala would have said, "You're completely crazy," the stuff he was saying, which is what she said, right? But Biden couldn't project. So then Kamala comes on the scene. That's him. That's why he was saying later, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done that," right? So
yes,
history will say
he pushed Biden out by making fun of him.
So he arranged his own destiny. He brought in the opponent that he didn't need. And I can't think of a better scenario because where we are right now, because of women's issues, right? She is the best representative by far, right?
I thought.
You know, a lot of these people
You're
are
going to get your Confederates out there that would never vote for a black woman.
Sure.
Not enough to vote for a woman, but a black one. But there's just too many good people out here that are saying, yeah, push her in front.
Yeah, you know, and by the way, the thing is, people go polls. You get conflicting polls, all this stuff, right? But look at the voting, right? First of all, go back to all the way back to 17. They keep losing election after election because the people overall, even though many do want it, more than that don't want it. They keep pushing back.
Yeah.
You know, these people now, Georgia, I saw the 300,000 votes first day, right? Okay, 55% women, 45% men. You know what that is? Really dangerous to you because you're going to see a woman, a tsunami, right? Like in reality, you know, people are saying that we're in a civil war. We sort of are. It's a cold civil war. We're also in a gender war. This is a gender war between men and women. And I'm telling you from the astrology, women are going to win that war. Thank God. Thank God. I mean, because
what was this the planet? You said this planet represents women.
Eris and Pluto in the sky are in a struggle. They were deadlocked in 2020 and they're still there. Eris is in a better place. And she is herself. She's like, if you're an astrologer, you see how ironic and almost funny all this is, right? Because Trump steps in there and manufactures, you know, brings in Eris so that she'll get in his face. Now, it's not just her. Eris represents people like Stormy Daniels, E. Jean Carroll, that other woman that he tried to grow up on the plane, Judge Chutkin. You know, there are many, many manifestations of that. All of them are bad, and you'll never see the end of this. And by the way, it's very just because he spent his entire life abusing women. That's a fact.
Thought he could.
Yeah.
I read a woman that said he grabbed her, groped her walking down the streets of New York.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well,
what do you think about Stormy Daniels, the latest thing that just happened?
Well, you know, it was funny when I saw that. I thought, you know, they're treating her like a lowlife because can you imagine if someone said to you, okay, well, Linda, you owe us 650,000, right? But we'll let it be 625. You know, that's like, come on. I mean, if you said we'll cut it in half or something, you're going to take $25,000 off just for that. But I have a feeling that they knew don't offer more because then it'll get out and then it'll really be a problem, right?
Okay, I don't see anything happening because of this.
No, I don't.
No extra charges because what do they call that? What is the name of it when you do an ND non-disclosure?
Non-disclosure.
That's very common everywhere.
It is, but the thing is, they were trying to silence her by offering peanuts, right? Because, and my feeling is that they knew if we offer more than peanuts, because, you know, Trump, think about it. If he thought, okay, instead of, imagine that he said, okay, you know what? You don't have to pay a penny as long as you shut up. But then that gets out, and that's really bad. So they realized, no, they tried to do this little thing of, well, it's not 650, we'll leave it at 625, which is an insult, which is why she said, no way, I'm not taking that.
Well, the attorney said, no way, no way, she won't do it. Ask
Of
her.
course, of
No
course.
way, she's not going to do it. I'm telling you right now. This happened this summer, and they just now released it.
Yeah, no,
But God bless them. And she got the money, over 600,000. I don't know how much the total was, just from GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Yeah, no, I mean, and this is what happens. This is what happens that, for every negative force, there's often a counter force. And I think people writ large, especially Democrats, should be encouraged that, look, there are more of us. We just have to vote. We just have to vote.
That pissed them off that regular folks gave her enough money to pay off that debt.
Yeah, but that's what happens. I mean, that's the world we live in, and it's entirely possible that it goes that way. And so whenever you feel more negative about the situation for whatever reason, just realize, right, that the energy's on our side. So, yeah.
Hi, Linda and Andre. My question is, what does Vance's chart look like? This is from Lola.
Vance's chart has him, the best way I can put it is, it's showing him in a prominent place, much like Trump is in a prominent place, meaning he's known, he's out there. Well, that's obvious, right? He became the VP. It doesn't show him winning. It just shows him in a place of prominence, right? And that's basically it. Now, my feeling about Vance, and you can tell me what your perspective is, but my feeling about Vance is that he is trying to be MAGA part 2, right? He's the Trump replacement. But what I think is going to happen is that he'll be competing with people like Nikki Haley, who will try to bring it back to a more normal Republican Party. And it may take a while, like 2 to 4 years, but I think MAGA's going to die,
MAGA's going back to the drawing. Yeah, all those people.
Yeah. It's
There's
just
a huge influx of subpoenas going out after she wins. And Jack Smith can feel comfortable in knowing Ginny Thomas and everybody. They're all going to get subpoenaed.
Well, and then a guy like Vance, it's like you've chosen the wrong horse. You had this idea in your mind, and I mean, I just can't believe it. Someone that back in 2016 was correctly telling us how Trump is immoral, this and that, and now he's just, happy as a clam to lie through his teeth, right and left, and to even tell people like on TV so we can all see it, I'm making this up so that to force you guys to say bad things about Kamala. That's what he was saying, essentially, right? I'm making up a story. Well, you're making up a story, but you're hurting people, actual human beings. These people are honestly total scoundrels. I mean, the lowest of the low.
His wife wrote some scandalous thing about Kamala and made some sort of judgment on her. I think it was even about her looks or something. And somebody wrote, yeah, I can see why your husband likes couches better.
Yeah. that thing, I didn't read the book, and I don't plan to. I think that whole thing is based on how he was probably making some statement about how, instead of being with someone, you just go be with yourself on the couch, and then now they're making it into a big story. So, but
it was funny though. I liked it.
Yeah, it's funny, and the thing is, they invite all these memes and these funny responses because of the way they play. Like, the amazing thing is Trump does this too. He pretends like he's not the one throwing all the insults constantly, right? And if you say anything, oh my God, look what they're saying about me. He does it all day long. I mean, what do you expect? It's like someone comes up and kicks you in the shins and then wonders why you get upset. Because, don't kick me in the shins. He's doing it all the time, constantly.
Yeah. So. Hey, I don't know if you can do this one astrologically. MH said, I live in Europe and we've been told to have, she didn't say where in Europe, but we've been told to have some kind of survival kit so we can go without electricity, water, and food for a couple of days. Is something bad going to happen? The government must know something that they're not telling us. Europe's a pretty big place.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where in Europe.
Hey, France right now is going through France and Spain, some awful flooding.
Well, the only thing is, what I would say about this is that if I think, okay, is there a meta model, some kind of thing that tells me about upcoming years, and without saying that it will be perfect, because there's going to be some choppy energy, but I always remember what my namesake, this French guy, that 2011, he says pandemic in 2020, and then he dies in 2019 too, to to further tell us how that works. But he said, and for astrologically, the middle of the decade, like 25, 26, 27, the situation improves a lot because the planetary angles are much better. And you do see this in the astrology when planets cluster in a certain place, like they did in 2020. Look what happened. It's rough, right? Or
Yeah.
when you get big planets opposing each other, like 9/11 was Saturn Pluto, 1960 Saturn Pluto. So we're moving into a zone that is better than it has been in quite a while. So maybe depending on where you are in Europe, there might be a country where electricity is more of an issue than in another country. But overall, no, I mean, I'm not looking at dystopia here, like the whole thing turning into a nightmare. I doubt it.
Right,
I really
right.
do. Yeah.
So I got someone is asking Sunflower. It's been said that the US chart and Trump's chart are interconnected, particularly in the future, even after Harris becomes president. Is this related to the revelations about Trump's conduct during the presidency and how it impacts US citizens and his fan base?
It's related to the two. Yes. You see that a lot, by the way. You see people that become president, you notice links to the US chart. And Trump, the most notable link he has is his sun energy links to the US Mars, all the anger, all the belligerence,
Right.
all the violence even. Mars is that way. It's a vulgar, violent, military type of energy. So that's the link. But then to say after Harris, well, to me, after Harris is that because he's being chased by the law. So of course you'll hear about it. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
Oh, yeah.
The story's not over yet. The story continues.
And a
But
lot of people are going to be affected that were in on it with him.
100%. But if you're talking about Trump alone, Trump and the U.S. chart, eventually, like one of the things, the links between the U.S. chart and Trump is when you link Trump's Jupiter is his, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to expand in any direction. Nothing can stop me. I have no limits. Okay, but the U.S. Saturn limits is on that Jupiter. You're asking for trouble. Eventually, the U.S. will say, you can't do that. That's not allowed. So then you get in trouble. That's what's going to happen to Trump. But remember that there's also Kamala to the U.S. Kamala has a very good connection to the U.S. chart. My feeling is that she's going to be way more popular than people are expecting, way more, prominent because she has really good connections to the U.S. chart, right? In
Okay.
fact, I've had, when I look at it, my sense is the odds are she'll do two terms, not just one, two.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's
I
an
was
example.
watching another lady who doesn't live in the United States, an astrologer. She said her aspects, and she's not somebody that likes politics, but she did say her aspects are such, she'll more than likely do two terms.
There you go. So, I mean, this is the thing. They always, for example, Biden is Sagittarius rising, the US is Sagittarius rising. That's a linkage. There's something about that person. Or you can look back at prior presidents, like, for example, George W. Bush. He's born on the same day as the US. That's an example of a linkage, right? And you can go back to Reagan, to Clinton. You see these links. Trump, they're there. But, by the way, Trump, by all accounts, no matter what, I mean, MAGA says differently, but this guy has had a rough time of it. As soon as he got in, I mean, it just has never abated because he is this way. He's a total clown. He just cannot put his mind on something and behave like a normal human being. So it's just exhausting, to have him.
Talking about he loves Kim Jong-un and
Yeah,
just,
I mean, by the way, that was the best moment. That was the best moment, I thought, in the debate yesterday. Kamala got angry and said, this is a democracy, okay? You can't do this in a democracy. You can't start threatening to put people in jail because you don't like what they said. Because, they were lying, by the way, on Fox. They showed a little piece when he had talked about Adam Schiff. He talked about Pelosi. These are your, political enemies or, call them political on the other side, your solution is to throw them in jail. Please, okay? This is like
Yeah.
Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is a Democrat. He doesn't like your ideas. Just like, we don't like, say, Liz Cheney's ideas even when she's behaving well. Now she's pro-democracy, but she wasn't exactly a Democrat before that, right?
She voted in step with Trump too.
No, yeah, exactly. That's the point. But you don't. The fact that you don't like her ideas, you don't threaten to throw her in the in some dungeon. That's what fascists do, right?
Well, he talks about executing too.
Oh yeah. What about the top general, Mark Milley? Saying that he's fascist to the core.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's obvious. Yeah.
So, here's the next question. Sorry, I lost it for a second. This was a good one too. Do you think Kamala's going to win Pennsylvania and Michigan?
Yes.
I do too. And they were talking about Michigan and that, the Palestinians don't want her. And I see her winning still.
I mean, you know what? This is if you want the answer to a lot of these questions, just think. Female tsunami. These MAGA people are like those people are on the beach. When the water pulls back, and someone should tell them, get out of there, because it's what's going to happen. It's going to move in. And by the way, the data is telling you already. You see early voting, they release it. That's a 10-point gap. That's lethal.
That's lethal. And Georgia too.
Georgia,
and
yeah.
Florida. A while ago, I said, "Oh my God!" I saw Rachel Maddow look at Nicole, even though I won't be watching them that night of the thing. But I saw them saying, "Oh my God, Florida's gone blue." And I remember saying that out loud, and I thought, "Oh, I guess I'm wishing it couldn't be." There's a possibility.
There is a possibility. Now, the only thing that's left here, I think, is how smooth it is, because you're saying. I've heard you say that it's not just an eking, close victory, that you think it's comfortable, right? The victory.
Yeah.
And yet I don't see how it gets settled until at least December, or maybe it could even get
Well,
worse
there
than
might
that.
be a couple of states they're fighting on, but I see you being able to say Kamala is the winner. That's what I saw.
But yeah, yeah, okay. That pretty much makes sense. You do
But
see
they're going to argue and all kinds of stuff.
yeah, they're gonna try
Mostly
things.
some of these, I don't know who I was reading yesterday, but I actually saw them having to put it on hold. Like it looks like he wins and then they challenge it. And this is like a senator or something. So there's something that's going to happen more so than Kamala.
You mean like not the presidential race, some other thing?
No, I'm seeing Kamala, doing it.
And
And the
what
thing
about,
is, she's going to win by such a wide margin in a lot of places. People, you guys don't seem to understand. People are done. It's just your white Confederates that are going, yeah, Trump. But a lot of people who voted for him even last time are going to vote for him this time. And
what
look at
about-
those people talking in that thing with their arms like this,
yeah, no, it's true.
And
No,
then he's
totally
over
true.
there spinning it and lying. And it was just beautiful. It was a love fest. No, it wasn't.
No, I know. It's the spin. The spin is remarkable. How do you see the Senate and the House?
We win big time. I saw that one guy that's an independent in Nebraska win by a landslide.
Wow.
He's going
Wow.
to take that seat away from that Deborah something who lied like Susan Collins and said, I'm not going to run again. Yeah, she ran again and he's going to beat her. And I love this guy. He's a Navy veteran. He's not taking any corporate money.
Good.
And he
Yeah.
says, 50% of Nebraskans are barely making it day to day. And you got this woman living the hog heaven over here and not allowing us to get our medicals covered, not, letting minimum wage be dirt poor where we're barely surviving. He says, we need to raise the minimum wage. We need to get the medical. And he's an independent. He's not going to be beholden to anyone. So someone said to him, listen, if you win, and he will win, I think he's way ahead. Well, then what about when you're in the Senate? Are they going to put you on committees because you're not a and how that is? He says, well, all that matters is that I get in there and my voice can be heard on a lot of issues for the state of Nebraska. Well, let me tell you something. As soon as they said that, I could see him on committees.
Well, you do get on committees if you're of similar, like Bernie gets on committees, and Bernie's an independent. So as
Yeah.
long as you're, yeah, yeah, it's that
I
might
see
be
him
good.
really, he's the future of politics. He's going to be somebody that's not beholden to anyone.
It's
He's
good.
not going to do corporate. All these dinosaurs, Pelosi and all those, they need to go. The ones that are living off corporate, they need to go.
Yeah. Well, and that there, I mean, age is taking care of that because she's
Yeah,
basically now she's like she's
a
on a
1,000 years old.
support system rather than the leader. Yeah.
Will Kavanaugh and Thomas vacate their seats before the anticipated court battles?
I doubt it. Sorry, but
I see Thomas having to go, but it might be because he's sick or his wife is indicted. But I see the hearings, I see the Senate sitting there, looking down on them and making them answer what for. Why did you tell us in your hearing, why did you commit perjury? Why did you tell us you were going to leave Roe versus Wade alone and then you turned around and changed the whole thing?
yeah, I know it's so dispiriting, when people behave that way. Too, it's like a bait and switch, But you see, the thing is, if you're being a little more optimistic, that was also a mistake that was made by Democrats not making it solidly legal. For example, when Obama was president, he had 60 votes. He could have enshrined it as a national law, but they were assuming it'll never happen. And now you have to do it, and it's going to be harder because it's hard to get 60 votes in the Senate. So they'll
Now
have
you're
to.
going to change that. That's how good they're going to do with the Senate. And let me tell you something else. Ruth Gator Ginsburg, she really thought she could live long enough for Hillary Clinton to go in.
Yeah, but it didn't happen. Yeah, that's true.
You got to do it now.
Yeah.
Can you please give an explanation of the Grand Trine on October 30th?
The Grand Trines are good. Grand Trine, the energy flows. What's the? Let me see what the Grand Trine happens in water signs, right? Yeah, water signs. Yeah, so it's good. Like that part of it would not be something you would focus on to say something terrible will take place. But the other thing is that it moves quickly, right? These things, they don't stick around all that long. So
Yeah.
if you happen to be an individual with planets near that Grand Trine, it can feel extra interesting and good for you, right? But other than that, it moves really quickly. And it's not even something that I pay a lot of attention to. I pay more attention to when I see, like what happened in 2020, lots of planets clustered. That's challenging, difficult. Or, for example, Saturn and Uranus were transiting in square to each other back
Yeah.
when we had the insurrection, because those two planets don't like each other, and so then you can get a rebellion of some type, and it's what happened around that time, right?
Yeah.
So those are more important.
Okay, this is a hard one. I think you've tried to look. Hey, can you put me on pause 1 second?
Sure.
Okay, Linda. Belinda asks, hi, Andre and Linda. Can you please tell us when Ukraine will be given permission to strike back at Russia? Well, I'm listening to War, Robert Woodward's book. And he explains in more detail that Biden, who's very good at all this stuff, at politics, he's been in it forever. He said Putin has been threatening nukes for quite some time now. And they don't think he'll never do it. They think he will do it. So they wanted to keep the tone down. That's why they didn't want boots on the ground going in themselves with Americans. Although they give them and they sanction them and they give Ukraine all kinds of material, they're afraid if the United States jumps in, then he'll start spewing rockets. Because that's how sick he is. But I never saw nuclear. He may try, but maybe the ET stopped. But somebody said, I don't know if they're going to give permission for. I know Germany said, come on, step over that line, Russia, and we're going to blow you out of the water.
Nuclear is not.
It's Armageddon and you don't see Armageddon, right?
No, no. I mean, basically, I mean, I don't know why. Maybe who knows? Maybe they have these talks in the background because they don't want to scare the public. But say,
Yeah.
like as an example, if I'm Biden or Kamala, I'd say, don't do it. If you do it, we're gonna do it back. End of story. It's just there's no way you get to do a nuclear strike without another nuclear strike.
Who's
A
the big
thousand
wig?
percent. So
Yeah.
you'll start, and by the way, no one can win those. Certainly not you. You'll
No.
destroy Russia. It'll be over.
Well, who's the big wig in the Pentagon? That big tall guy? He's a black gentleman. What's
Oh
his?
yeah, I can't think of his name, but he's the
He talked to the liaison in Russia back when all this was
yeah
starting.
he said our military is the biggest. I don't do threats. I
Yeah,
know.
we
I know.
have the greatest world military on the face of the earth, and I don't threaten. Because the guy said, I don't appreciate you threatening.
Yeah,
So,
no, exactly. You don't need. That's a great comeback. Anyway, I mean, this kind of thing, it's to me, if you launch a nuke, it's like signing a suicide pact. Well, because even if the U.S. or whoever didn't nuke back, the world response to that it would be so horrific because you're trying to conquer a country. That's what you're doing. I mean, in the end, this is Putin's thing, and the world frowns upon that for good reason.
yeah, yeah.
So
And his people won't like him doing it either.
no, no.
They may
So
all
it's
gather up with shovels and pitchforks and track him down and say, stop it. We want to live. But did you see that North Korea sent their military in and a whole bunch, the big top brass military got killed almost immediately, but a whole bunch of them dispersed and want to join the Ukraine.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, they're so happy to get out of North Korea. And then South Korea said, if we start seeing military from North Korea, give us a call. We'll come over there and fight with you.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, this is the thing that it's always funny how these countries that are really dictatorial, they try to prevent their people from leaving, which is crazy because countries where there's democracy, freedom, nobody asks you want to go anywhere you want,
Yeah.
and they telegraph, how lost they are about it, and eventually what ends up happening is the people that are talented and smart they leave, so then your country is weaker as a result, right? But anyways, this goes to me, the Putin issue and Ukraine. Again, we have to be patient because you need the next cycle. Saturn in Aries, Neptune in Aries, a little bit in 25, fully in 26. It takes a while for these things to develop, but that's where it's headed, and it's not good for him or for Russia. It just isn't good.
Exactly.
I don't know what the exact outcome would be. I just know that he's not on the right side of it. And even though he may at times seem like he's winning, no, don't put
And
your money on
listen,
that
if
one.
Trump got in, he might be happy, but no, it's going to be because Kamala going to put up with his stuff either.
Exactly. Yeah, that's part of the reason. Exactly. That's it.
Can you put me on pause one more time? Sorry.
Yeah. So,
Um, Gloria Johnson, did you ever look at her chart?
who?
Gloria Johnson, she's she was part of the Tennessee Three. She's
No,
running as a Senate candidate in Tennessee.
I didn't
Okay.
look at her. No, I have no idea. What's your feeling about her? I did look
I
at
think she's gonna win.
I did look at the races. I don't have all the information. I only have some charts, but then all I have is birthday, so I don't have the full info. But I looked at Josh Hawley and Lucas Kunz, and then Colin Allred and the idiot Ted
True.
Cruz. But
What'd you get on them?
well, with what I have, and don't take this one to the bank as 100%, but to me, it's Hawley that has more problems than Cruz. Cruz isn't great either, but he's got a little better support than astrologically than Cruz
Holly's
against.
gonna lose big time.
Who's going to lose?
Josh Hawley.
Just well, so then there's the question of Cruz. I mean, see, this is the thing. That would be a cataclysmic event, if you knock out Cruz, because
It's a very good possibility. Very good.
yeah,
I think if they say there's some untoward things happening in that. Mark my words about this, to where it could even be on the fence and all kinds of hearings. This may be the upset, but because his cards, what's this guy? The guy that's running against Cruz. His name is Allred.
Allred.
His cards were like, yes, 9 of cups, this and that. Then he got the 10 of swords. I thought, what the heck? And then it looks like some sort of legal process. So somebody's going to say no, or they're going to fight this. Texas, and Cruz has got the echelon of Texas helping him.
Yeah, Texas is very.
And this guy's done nothing for the people of Texas, not a thing. But Josh Hawley, his newspaper in Missouri, they said he's worthless. The biggest newspaper in Missouri said this man has done nothing for us.
Yeah, no, and he's so dangerous because he was part of that whole insurrection thing, and it's just we're living through times where, man, some of these people need a comeuppance because this kind of behavior, like Johnson too, the Speaker of the House. I mean, what a scoundrel to be. You're a lawyer and you are basically, it's like you're backing illegal behavior. I mean, a lawyer should be defending the law. Anyway, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's not there much longer.
But interestingly, I mean, think about it, right? Even with all that, Johnson, despite all that, he passed the budget so that Ukraine could get their funding. So even that turned out, because that would have been disastrous if Ukraine were still behind the eight ball with no weapons, and at least they have a little bit more for the time.
And Germany's giving them a bunch of tanks and a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
So listen, do we still have time?
Yeah, we have some more time, sure.
How does the full moon fit into Judge Chutkan releasing Jack Smith's J6 appendix?
Okay, is that supposed to happen around now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the full moon, the way it fits is that it's not a good full moon for Trump. What I said in a recent video, this is not a good time, right? And so, but that's one thing. Seldom will you say, well, it was just that, right? They said some things, he doesn't like it. No, there's probably going to be more other stuff, right? Including that, for example, if it turns out, and it's very possible, that the Kamala interview on Fox turns out to be a real asset, goes viral or something, he's going to be really upset because he didn't want them to do the interview because it's too risky. Why do you think he doesn't want to debate her? Because he's scared. He's too scared, right? So, yes, that's one example of something that could definitely correlate with something very uncomfortable. Because where the moon is difficult for Trump. It's not just that, Mars. It's moon and Mars. They're all hitting him right now, like until the 27th or so. Dangerous territory. So then the other thing with him is he's constantly raging anyway. He does like all caps tweets and all that. You'll see it accelerate and get even more crazy. But the bottom line is that it's not good. That's the answer in a nutshell to all that.
And people are getting a little tired of it.
Well, I would say so. By the millions, no question.
I don't think astrology, you can answer this question. Will there ever be a law that prohibits making up lies like MAGA?
Well, I can say something. Here's something I can say about that. When you're looking for a planet that will drift into lying and disinformation, Neptune. Neptune entered Pisces in 2011, gets fully out in 2026. You will likely see a switch because this has been growing and growing. I remember in 2011 was when the people like Ted Cruz would go on TV and just blatantly lie. Like at one point, he stopped the government. He closed down the government, and then he said, "I didn't do it. The Democrats did it." I remember looking and going, "What? Are you insane?" Right. It's like the people that follow you will believe anything. I'll just say anything. Pigs are flying. Whatever. That has been the case for years and years. It peaks under Trump. We had a president who lied thousands of times. It was just lie after lie after lie. Now we're getting near the end. So give it a couple of years and it'll switch. I think it'll get better. Let's say that.
Yeah, I think they might put restrictions on even people like Fox News can't go on with the.
Well, you know what happens, Linda? Sometimes it's not even the restrictions. Is that society goes in a certain direction, and right now it's acceptable. and then it starts to become unacceptable. It's kind of like how people used to smoke, and now you go anywhere, not
Right.
permitted
Or
here, not permitted
McCarthyism.
here,
McCarthyism was a big deal, and then it was embarrassing.
and then it became embarrassing. Yeah, so it's a lot of times it's a question of things just move in a certain direction, and I think the cycles are changing in a big way as we go into the middle of the decade. So just be patient. Don't expect it to be overnight, but I think it will improve substantially.
Okay, so what does the energy of the USA look like in December?
Well, I'm focused more on November. In November, there is we're on a Saturn station, which I think where when you see it where it is in the U.S. chart, to me it signals gridlock, like where it's not something is stuck, right? By December, it's getting better. I would say mid-December, because there's also a retrograde period there, late November and into mid-December, right around the middle of December, which, by the way, that's usually when they certify. They start to certify the votes and everything, so that fits. There is some possibility that it could go beyond that, though. It could. I'm not ready to rule it out yet, that it could even be delayed longer, but my best guess is mid-December, for the situation to finally settle.
Dano said, could you tell me about Mars and Venus in Aquarius?
Well, Mars and Venus in Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign of friendship and having lots of contacts and networking, and it's a really good. If you have Mars, Venus, and Aquarius, that becomes your talent. In relationships, on a one-on-one basis, often people with a lot of Aquarius, they're not as passionate or as as
No, they're
in the
not.
relationship, because it's kind of a airy relational sign, but not particularly warm. But even so, it doesn't mean you're not going to do well in relationships. It just means that's the way your planets function. And those planets in Aquarius, if they're both there, they were under more pressure in 2021 and 2022. Now Saturn has left that region. But here's the next. This is why you have to do a proper chart. Otherwise, you're talking nonsense in a way. If you tell me, oh, my Venus and Mars are in Aquarius, and they're in the early degrees in Aquarius, then yeah, you should talk to an astrologer, because that's getting a lot of Pluto action. Now we're talking a totally different scenario, right?
Of a different color.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on where they are. Because they could be anywhere from 0 to 30. Are they together? Are they apart? You got to
Right.
gauge that stuff. Yeah.
Full moon conjunct natal. This says vertex. Do they mean vortex?
Vertex. Vertex.
Uh-huh. Full moon conjunct natal vertex? Question mark.
That I would say a lot of more so than usual fated encounters. With people that come into your life that seem to have some major effect on you. But again, you gotta calibrate it to the rest of the chart. Because if someone says to you, "Okay, tell me about this part of the chart," this is like you going to the doctor and having him, diagnose you by saying, "Can you tell me how my health is by looking at my elbow?" I mean,
Right.
you got to kind of, look at the whole thing. So
Here's a good question. We'll make this the last one. What's the biggest surprise you've ever experienced in astrology that never could have been predicted and totally went against astrological norms? Or has it ever happened?
the biggest surprise. Well, never. I've never experienced something like that I couldn't explain. Really, it's more the fault of the astrologer. If you're really surprised, it's because you didn't look deeply enough. And some of my learning, especially the more I go back, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it's the mistakes that really teach you. You say, okay, this is it, and then it doesn't happen, and then you think, holy smoke, and you look and you realize, don't blame the astrology, blame yourself because you didn't check something thoroughly enough. Sometimes the error can be if you don't have all the information, like you don't have proper charts, and you get it wrong that way. So,
Right.
yeah, that's the best answer I can think of. Not in the sense, no, like in other words, it won't. If all the info is there, then no, the odds of being surprised go way down, because it turns out according to the charts. Yes,
Well, my friend, thank you so much.
it's a pleasure. All right, so we'll reconvene soon. Do we have a plan to reconvene maybe next week or like definitely
Probably
before the
next week
election?
because
Right?
things are getting hot and heavy.
All right. Okay.
I don't think Trump is going to do Madison Square Garden. I just don't think he is.
Is he supposed to?
He's talking about doing Madison Square Garden. I don't think they have enough money to pay everybody to go.
Huh. Interesting. And when is that supposed to be?
I don't remember, but someone wrote me who lives in New York and said, that tunnel underneath is the main connection, and you wouldn't want a whole bunch of people showing up there.
No, and then the risk he has is that
Yeah.
he doesn't get a big enough crowd, and then it'll turn into something negative. All right. Bye, everyone. See you next
Bye,
time.
everyone.